Okay, welcome back.
Yeah.
What were we talking about last time?
Matrix, I believe.
Oh yeah, you're gonna bring up the Matrix after Odyssey.
Yeah, I was talking about how certain science fiction films have a message. A lot of stories have messages, but sci-fi films are probably the most upfront about their messages. Matrix is about don't deny reality just because it's upsetting to you. Don't live in a fantasy world just because you can't face reality, and don't accept totalitarianism even if it's for your benefit. Right?
Yes.
As someone who spends a lot of time in VR chat and who is friends with a lot of otaku, boy, has that movie changed.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I love the first Matrix movie. It has become one of my favorite films. And Neo is right. Neo is right. Morpheus is right. You shouldn't tolerate lies. You shouldn't, just because they benefit you, you should, stand up for the truth, and you should try to see the world for what it is and embrace the truth and embrace reality and all of its misery and all of its beauty. But
Sift through the bullshit and get the truth, no matter how bad it hurts.
Yeah, it hurts.
Free dog. Anyway,
when you're listening to Galaxy News Radio. Anyways,
I love me. Anyway, that's besides the point.
I love all three of them dogs, but what the fuck was I gonna say? Yes, the Matrix. Yeah, the line of there's a great moment where the villain of that movie, one of the villains, is eating a steak, and he's like,
somebody say steak.
The steak could be described in a lot of ways: juicy, succulent, very tender and good.
Could you describe it as a steak?
Yeah, hold on.
Sorry.
And then he goes, well, but I know it's not real, so it doesn't matter to me anyways. And he looks at the agent he's talking to, and he goes, I want you to make me forget everything. I want to reset. I want to live in the Matrix. I want to be whoever I want to be this person. I want to do this thing. He's embracing the lies.
Meatloaf, my favorite.
Yeah, exactly. This is like, I want to live a lie because reality is too painful and miserable. And I sympathize way more with that person now than I did when I watched it now. I was like, because it's like, yeah, tell him Neo, tell him Morpheus.
Yeah.
But now it's like, he has a point. He's a bastard. But
we get where he's coming from.
Because I sometimes want to just give up. I just want to live in.
We all
live in the oasis and talk to Miku.
That's a broad statement of we all do. I'm sure a lot of us do.
A lot of us do. A lot of us saw Sword Art Online, not as
Nerve Gear.
Nerve Gear is like not as this weird, uncomfortable sci-fi thing, but as this goal to attain.
It's exactly why we play video games, as an escape, more or less. Yeah.
Like, what do you say to me whenever I ask you if you want to try out VR?
I don't give a shit. Not until Nerve Gear exists.
Right, exactly, and it's like, that's what we want. We all want to just put on the headset and be fully immersed, and oh man, there's so much that can be done with that. For example, did you know that the human brain can change? Did you know that the human brain can control can basically, if you change certain chemicals, you can change the perception of time? See, I thought this had only existed in dreams, until I ate way too many edibles the other day. Time slowed to a crawl, and it felt like weeks were passing in an hour. It was some of the worst shit I had ever dealt with.
It was hilarious.
It was funny for Travis, and we almost recorded it. Thank Christ we did not. I mean, you didn't record it, did you?
No, we were gonna stream, but then Alex was in no state to stream at that point, so we decided not to.
Yeah, so I learned from that you can make time last forever if you introduce the right chemicals into the brain. So you could make it so 1 hour of play in the world of Sword Art could last a lot longer, You could even set yourself up on a protein drip or a nutrient drip to keep yourself fed, and you could live out an entire lifetime in the space of a weekend before you go back to work.
I mean, that's what they do in SAO towards the end with all the people that are trapped. You see a lot of them on hospital beds with IVs in their arm.
Yeah, and you can't unplug the Nerve Gear. Thank God the Nerve Gear has an internal battery.
Yeah, no shit.
Don't know how it maintains an internet connection, but they're in Japan. The internet's not as shitty as it is here.
Also, aren't they like... Isn't the nerf gear always plugged in? Because he lays down and it's connected, if not to the PC, but I'm assuming to a power source as well.
I would hope it has its own internal Wi-Fi. That way,
Internal as well as external.
Yeah, that way when the Ethernet goes down, it can attach to a Wi-Fi signal, and when the Wi-Fi signal goes down, it can attach to Japan's amazing 4G network.
Yeah.
Cool. Sword art lore. Anyhow, what I was saying is, like, if nerve gear came with a syringe, and like before you start, here's your syringe. You inject yourself, get your protein. Oh, you don't even need a protein drip, really.
Gorilla's feet look like hands. Did they just take the hands from that? What?
Travis.
What? The gorilla's feet look like hands?
Do you know that certain primates have not feet, but a second set of hands, right?
No, this is news to me.
This is the one and only time I'm going to look up primate feet.
Oh, that's in your search history now.
Here you go, Travis. Here is a JPEG for your education.
I hope it's some like deviant or shit. Huh. Weird. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Also,
it's part of evolving. It's a part of evolving from quadrupedal to bipedal creatures.
Also,
it's science.
Another animal fact: you cannot jump on hippos like that. They will fucking kill you.
Hippos are horrible monsters. Monsterers. Yes, you heard me. They're monsterers. You heard me right.
Are you gonna say murderers?
Yes, but I also said monster. But I accidentally said monster.
We know.
But yeah, you get your syringe. You get your syringe of dream juice. You inject yourself with it. You put on the nerve gear, and there you go. Furthermore, if you could train the brain well enough, and let's say you build up money for retirement. Let's say you build up a separate fund, right? Not only could you basically build up a second fund. Let's say instead of retirement, you save up for dream.
I can guess where you're going with this, and it's that episode of Futurama at the old folks' home. Is that what you're gonna say?
I'm not familiar, but I was gonna say Long Dream from Junji Ito, because at that point they could go, all right, what kind of life would you like to live in the afterlife? All right, we're gonna stick you in this bed, and we are just gonna feed you a constant drip of this shit, and we're gonna keep you on life support for however long is necessary, and until you actually kick the bucket, you're going to live what feels like several lifetimes in this dream world.
Yeah.
And in this dream world, you can choose whatever you want. Other people can be on the same central server, and you can live in this dream world, or it could be perfectly set up for you, you know?
Yeah.
You would live a second life inside this world, and you could technically live forever, as long as the brain can perceive forever. Now, we don't know if there's a cutoff point, because for me, time felt like it was slowed down, but it still had a limit, you know? Time still passed while I was high. I wasn't trapped forever in that mental health state. But considering all it took for that was a little marijuana, imagine what a hospital could do with the drugs, with a mixture of drugs that all produce that same effect.
I feel like there'd be some cancellation between the drugs, though.
Yeah, and if it goes wrong, you might introduce a never-ending nightmare.
Yeah. That would be fun.
But what else? But what else is life? Never-ending nightmare.
Oh, I thought you meant it's just a bunch of chemical impulses going between our nerves as brain pilots.
Oh, well, that's correct.
On our flesh mechs.
We're basically just meat computers.
Yeah, technically. We're just brains piloting flesh. Hell, it's not even brains. We're chemical impulses, like I said, piloting flesh. Mm-hmm. Piloting a brain, piloting flesh. There we go. I don't know why, but I was focusing on doing this when I'm not even playing the game. What the fuck?
Yeah, like, hit that one, you motherfucker.
That's why I got quiet there, more or less.
There's also hitching and stuttering. Thinking of doing right now was actually booting up Fallout Shelter and start streaming so we could cross the stream. be my
Clayton. Ooh, ooh,
thing?
Not Clayton.
Clayton?
Not Clayton.
Mount. She said Mount Clayton.
Not Clayton.
Mount Clayton. Assert dominance. Do you scream like that before you fire your AR, Travis?
Yes.
Oh, by the way, I played Pavlov VR last night.
Nice.
What do you think was the first thing I did with my pistol?
Shoot yourself in the head?
Damn.
I got the idea to, that scream. I wanted to insert a Wilhelm scream over it, but then I realized I had just watched the Sleepy Cast episode where they're bitching about people overusing certain sound effects, and the Wilhelm scream was one of them. And then I immediately decided, no, I'm not doing that. Because the Wilhelm scream is horribly overused.
My favorite gag with the Wilhelm scream is in the Ratchet & Clank movie, which isn't very good, but I like this one joke. It's when they're fighting all the robots in Metropolis, and one of Ratchet's teammates get kicked off one of the moving taxis and falls to his death. And then you hear the Wilhelm scream, and then his friend reaches down and goes, "Wilhelm!"
That's funny.
Which was pretty good.
Also, another one that they brought up was the metal fence gate opening sound. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
That one.
It's got like some crinkly buildup, but yeah, more or less the.
I see.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? Now that you've said that, I'm gonna not be able to unhear that constantly.
Oh, once you play Resident Evil, it breaks you.
That too, yeah, definitely. Also, I don't know why, but I got super aggressive since the last time when we first attempted this.
Oh, you mean your play style got more aggressive?
Yeah. Also,
yeah, I can see that.
I think there was a clutch moment here coming up that I was impressed by. We'll see. Oh yeah, right here. Okay, no, I lied. It wasn't
Leaf
there.
Racer. Wait, you can Leaf Racer early. Yeah.
27, I think you said. Okay, then it might not have been here. Oh! Oh yeah. My, okay, so the story for that, I totally forgot that happened. My cat was in the room while I was recording this.
Didn't it bit your foot?
No, he decided to jump. He leaped from my bed into my lap. And, I had to quickly pause the game to, fucking remove him from my lap because it scared the hell out of me.
Removal? You are being removed. Good. Yeah, the stream start the video feed you're showing me starting to glitch out. Just letting you know.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, Clayton, jeez, poor guy, poor monster. Oh, it's gonna fall on him, isn't it? Oh, there goes the stream.
I did that for a reason. Okay, how does it look now?
Blurry,
But
better.
Okay, yeah, it's gonna have to be.
So there was something that I don't know what it was. I think it was the comic code.
What?
I think it was the comic code. Basically, heroes couldn't kill villains. If a villain was to die, it would have to be from their own negligence. You know?
Weird.
Yep. There was a moral. There was like a moral code of conduct that was imposed on comics for a while because basically the American media were afraid that comic books, which were largely consumed by children, were getting too violent. And to be honest, they were really violent.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We're going to negatively impact and influence the people of America. And as you can see, Sora there doesn't get any smaller after a certain point because it'd go outside the game's draw distance, so they just hold him in the air for a moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to what I was saying. One of the rules of that is that if a villain were to die, it would have to be because of their own incompetence, not because of not because of the hero. Heroes couldn't kill the villains. Okay. And that's why characters like Batman and Superman just stopped killing, and it became part of their moral code and character.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, this is remembered a lot less for Superman. mainly because Superman's overpowered and it's hard to make him do cool stuff without him killing people. But I feel like with Superman, it's forgotten a lot more than with Batman. Or maybe it's just because Superman doesn't have as good writers as Batman does. But regardless, Superman is, where was I going with this? That thing of like the thing, that the iguana falling on Clayton kind of reminds me of that comic code idea of villains have to die from their own incompetence if they do die.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering what the hell the tie-in to that was.
Yeah, it's like the Joker would die because his plan went wrong, or one of Mr. Freeze's experiments would go wrong and cause the place to melt down, and Batman would have to get out of there on time.
Yeah.
And it would lead to a moment where Batman would either probably, and it usually ends with Batman saving them if they wanted to use the villain again later.
Yep.
But if they didn't, then he would get left behind. But what's really funny about Batman, and I was thinking about this earlier. I actually wasn't thinking about this. It's from a video I watched on a channel called Renegade Cut. Highly political video reviews of like movies and stuff. I don't agree with a lot of his politics. However, he made some good points about Batman, where Batman is not helping. Batman stopping crime, he is not a permanent solution. Now you would just say, well, it's because he doesn't kill. Well, that's one reason, yes. But the other reason is that the police cannot legally imprison people that Batman brings to them. The reason being is even if Batman takes these people and tosses them on the doorstep of a prison, they still have to have enough evidence to convict. And because a lot of the time Batman doesn't share this evidence, they wouldn't be able to be convicted. And even if he did share this evidence, it was acquired illegally by a vigilante criminal. Meaning that these people are just going to walk free anyways. Joker's just going to walk free.
Yeah, but Gotham's corrupt. I wouldn't, in the context of Gotham, I wouldn't be surprised if they just let it slide for Batman to turn in these people with illegal evidence.
Yeah, and I was thinking that too, and that's the kind of thing where like somebody would want someone like Commissioner Gordon on his side, somebody who's corrupt. Yes, he's a corrupt cop, but he's corrupt for justice. You know? Yeah,
corrupt in a good way.
In a good way, like Harvey Dent and Gordon would be like Batman's boys on the legal side of things. That would go, all right, we'll make up some nonsense about how we just found it. You know, we're gonna spin it. We're gonna spin it in your direction. A district attorney and a detective. A police commissioner and a district attorney together working with Batman would be enough to sway it in their favor.
Yeah.
But I have not read a single Batman story where they've covered that topic. Now, if you're a viewer, hello, welcome to our channel, and you know of a Batman story where they actually talk about this, feel free to link it in the comments below. I would love to know, but I find it somewhat fascinating.
That's what it meant.
Yeah, because that, stuff like that is super interesting, way more than just, I'm gonna go fight this villain.
A plot hole like that isn't just a plot hole, it's an opportunity for an entire story.
Yeah, exactly.
You could write an entire story about Batman's legal defense.
Yeah.
About how... Well, I mean, you also there's also Bruce Wayne as well. Bruce Wayne could help influence by funding certain people, Yeah. And you can make an entire story where, like, an internal affairs officer looks into it and has to put Gordon and Dent and Wayne in check because... Look, we know, this is an internal affairs officer. They're a morally good person, but they also believe in the law, and they don't want corruption, even if it's for a good cause.
Yeah.
That would make for a really interesting story. What I'm saying is that DC needs its own She-Hulk, because She-Hulk is a lawyer. She's a prosecutor.
Okay.
Or she defense attorney. Hold on one moment.
I completely misheard, and I thought you said she's a prostitute, and I'm like, what's that got to do anything? But no, never mind.
No, she's during the day she's a defense attorney. She's a lawyer. Yeah, she's a lawyer. I don't know if she's a defense attorney or a prosecutor.
Okay.
God, I would love that. That's a Marvel show I want to see. Because she specifically exists in a world where superheroes are well known and S.H.I.E.L.D. exists and all that, and she has to basically be the middleman between the civilized world and the superhero world.
Yeah. Speaking of superheroes, I need to read The Punisher. I keep putting it off.
I'll loan you, next time I swing by, I'll loan you my my copy of Punisher Born.
Yeah.
about the Punisher in the Vietnam War. It is a brutal read.
Oh, I know. I'm excited. I was wearing my Punisher t-shirt, and my granddad was over, and he's like, "Hey, what's with that skull on your shirt?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's the Punisher." And he's like, "Who's the Punisher?" And I'm like, "He's a superhero,
No,
but
he's
his
not.
superpower are guns."
Yeah, I was gonna say he's a monster.
He's awesome. He's
know,
awesome. Don't be hating
my
on the
favorite-
Punisher.
Some of my favorite things though is
My family, family.
family. I once killed a family. But one of my favorite Punisher things is when Punisher becomes War Machine and gets the Tony Stark armor, the Iron Man armor.
Yeah,
And Punisher makes a way better War Machine than Rhodes does.
nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to be found in superhero comics. Honestly, the only Marvel comic I read recently was The Punisher, Punisher Born, because most of what I'm interested in is DC. Not because I prefer DC, it's just the heroes I am interested in just happen to be on the DC side of things. I like Superman, I like Batman. That's literally it, actually. Now that I think about it. I like the Joker. But
I
Joker
think the only two quote unquote superheroes that I like who aren't necessarily superheroes are Batman and the Punisher.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I also like Watchmen, but that's also technically DC now.
Yeah.
I read a lot. I read quite a few comics. I need to read more. I want to start getting into this. I want to start reading the Trigun comics.
There's
Those are
Trigun
fun.
comics.
Yeah, there's apparently a sequel comic series for Trigun where it goes
Weird.
where it follows Vash and his crew going on adventures in the planet Gunsmoke.
Interesting.
If you want another story that tackles the consequences of non-lethal justice,
We can talk about it next time.
on
Thank you for
Dragon Ball
watching.
Z, Frieza defeated.